Seek TV. I'm about to get ready to break down your girl Jenny from the block, aka Jennifer Lopez J Lo. And it's been a request I've been getting for a minute, and I finally got time to get to it. Now, first off, as you can see, I know we all remember the film Enough that came out back in 2002. And if you remember the film, we all know her husband was beating on her. You remember that? And what did she do? She ended up killing her husband. Now, Jennifer Lopez is really like a high level witch when it comes to Hollywood, yo, aka Holly Weird. And if you understand, that's why it's called Enough, because everyone has a limit. Enough. Self defense isn't murder. Pay attention to that, the limit and enough, because that's letting you know, like, it's that calibration that she reached in those levels. You know what I'm saying? She reached that limit is enough, because practically, if you understand the goddess Ishtar, aka Ayana, aka Semiramis, you know what I'm saying? They all defeated their husbands by killing him. And the goddess Ishtar was a goddess of hand-to-hand combat. And that's what this whole movie was about. If you remember the movie with J-Lo, she was using hands. Remember that. So that's how she killed her husband. She mastered the art of MMA, and she killed her husband. You know what I'm saying? As a scene, Semiramis killed her husband. You know? And Semiramis was nothing but Ishtar, aka the Queen of Heaven, basically the Queen of Babylon. You know what I mean? And her son was Nimrod. That was her son, and she had an incest relationship with her son. And she was a goddess of war, a goddess of Babylon. You know, she basically was a queen of heaven. That's all she was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be delving deep into this because it's crazy, because if you remember the movie Cell that came out in 2000, actually Jennifer Lopez has been reported anyway. You know, people have said this, like, you know, she's known to be into Santeria. You know what I mean? AKA voodoo, witchcraft, black magic. You know what I'm saying? In the movie Cell, I'm going to play the clip. The movie Cell, you remember what was she doing? All she was doing was entering the minds of of a serial killer, and she was finding the victims and stuff like that. But they used technology, but basically she was using witchcraft to enter his mind. So I'm gonna play the trailer right quick, and I'm gonna chime in.
Can I ask you something?
Have you ever heard of Wayland's infraction?
Focused. Instincts play a very important part here, so trust them. You've read her file. Hit her with something personal. And remember, it's not real.
Come on, stop playing around.
I mean, really pay attention to this. You know what I'm saying? You get the point on that. Like, come on. You feel me? And what tripped me out too is like how she was chosen to sing for the inauguration day. And you already see, she sung the song "This Is Your Land." You know what I mean? And she said that the city that sit on the waters. And we already know, as it's written in scripture and Revelation, that the city sits upon the waters. The city of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? So as you look at that, look at her anyway. She's throwing up 666, and she's wearing white. And I'm going to delve into the colors that they were wearing during the inauguration in a moment. But really just pay attention to this.
I good with brotherhood from sea to California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Pay attention to that. Like, pay attention to how she's wearing the white. And like I said, notice she's talking about this land is your land. Who is she speaking about? You know what I mean? It's obvious she's talking about those who's in the agenda, you know what I mean, of one world order. This whole thing with this woman, man, time and time again, because if you remember the film Anaconda, if you already know anyway, the anaconda, the snake, represents nothing but the great rebirth, you know what I mean? That's why the mother goddess Ishtar used to have the serpent. You feel me? It was literally like a Babylonian custom for rebirth. That's why she had to do the film Anaconda. Remember that? With Ice Cube. And anyway, Ice Cube literally just represents nothing but the god Saturn, aka Ice, the god of darkness, the god absence of light. That's why they had to cast them two together on this film. You feel where I'm going with this? So like it's deep stuff, because remember also that's why she played the role Selena. You know what I mean? Because when you understand the goddess Selene, it was the goddess of death, of the white horse. You feel where I'm going with this? It gets deep, because Revelation 6:8, and I looked and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was death, and hell followed with him. You feel what I'm saying? That's why she had to do the role of Selena, because Selene, goddess of the white horse. You feel where I'm going? And hint, J-Lo riding a horse. And she did it on the song Medicine too, with French Montana. And as you see, she has the mask on where she has many faces, because that literally represents the goddess of death, Kali. You know what I mean? Cali, basically. That's why you got the word California, aka Cali fornication, the fornication of the goddess Kali of death. You feel where I'm going? Like, this stuff is real, man. Like, all of this symbolism. Look at her right now. She's cleaning the floor, and she's wearing green. She's cleaning the Masonic checker floor, as you see. And she's wearing green, because the green literally represents nothing but fertility and vegetation, because the goddess Ishtar, if you're familiar with Easter, Ishtar, really just represents nothing but fertility. That's why they use the Easter eggs. You feel where I'm going with this? Like, pay attention to that right there. You see what I'm saying? And she's showing she's cleaning the floor, because that represents renewal. You know what I mean? Of the mother goddess. Like, this lady plays a crazy role, you know, and as this, like they already said, this lady does, her ex claims she sacrificed hens. You know what I mean? Like chickens. Like, come on. Look at this right here. This song with her and Pitbull. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, look at all this symbolism, you know, it's just right in our face. And it tripped me out when I saw this, because I'm just like, they do all of this right in our face, and people don't even pay attention to this, you know? Because it's like, it's right in our face. We never can say we didn't know. And as you see, that's black and white again. And notice she's wearing black and white, and she has the crosses, because the crosses literally represents nothing but death. That's why she's wearing black. You feel what I'm saying? So like, really pay attention to this, because now I'm about to get ready to tap into the whole theme. That's why I said she was wearing white, because she represented death. You know what I mean? The goddess of death. You feel what I'm saying? That's what she represents. She represented the goddess of death. You feel me? And as I just read, hell followed with death. So pay attention to this. That's why they had her singing "This Land Is Your Land," because it represented the one world order of the mighty city of Babylon, of spiritual Babylon. And as you see, if you're familiar with the show The Handmaid's Tale, just give me 1 second. With the show The Handmaid's Tale, as you can see, what the blue represented nothing but, like, basically you having not having a voice. You feel what I'm saying? Basically, like you have no power of opinion because you're basically serving and you're basically like subservient in communism. That's all it represented. And when you notice the red that Michelle Obama is wearing, the red represented nothing but the fertility. That's why the ones who wore red on the Handmaid's Tale, they were the ones who basically were always used for childbirth. You know, for those who are a high power, because that represents nothing but basically like the citizens and how we literally just you see what's going on with the pandemic. All of the people are getting rich off of our suffering. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why it gets in deeper red too, because you can look at that like in a sense of edging into rebellion, or you can look at it like in a sense of like becoming weaker. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how you look at it. But you got Kamala Harris, obviously wearing the purple. And you already saw this anyway back on The Simpsons. Remember the Simpsons episode? She was wearing the purple too. You know what I mean? Just like that, because the purple literally represents nothing but the scarlet whore in Babylon, who wears in Revelation 17:4, the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. That's why they had the red, because it represents those who are literally victims of the fornication of Babylon. You feel what I'm saying? Of spiritual Babylon. The blue represented you, those who were who lacked power. You know what I mean? Because you lack a voice. You basically a slave. That's all it's saying. A sex slave in a spiritual sense. And then you notice the yellow represents nothing but like those who prosper in it. You know what I mean? The achievements. Notice Lady Gaga wearing the black and red with the holy dove, because that represents nothing but the goddess Aphrodite. You know what I mean? And I'll pull that up in a second too, because that just represents nothing but the mother goddess, aka just like I just showed you with Ishtar, or you want to say Semiramis. You know what I mean? The mother goddess, the queen of heaven. That's all it represents. And then when you look at it too, the black and the red is for ritual blood sacrifice, ritual sacrifice. And when you notice the brown represents those who basically got washed up. You know what I mean? They're the ones who basically are like lower class. You know what I mean? They look at them as like Jezebels. They're the ones who try to rebel against the system but have no power. That's what that whole thing was about. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff is deep, you know, because like I said, J-Lo plays a huge role, because that's why they had her singing. And notice the one who was singing had to wear white, because J-Lo is down with this whole agenda since she came in. You know what I'm saying? And all that is literally, that's what the whole thing represents. Nothing but one world order, and you becoming servant, you know, basically a slave of the whole agenda, where they have total power. You have no voice, you have no privacy. Everything is communism. Everybody is down with this one purpose, one cause. That's what this whole thing was about. That's why they had to choose J-Lo, because J-Lo is nothing but just a high level witch. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at that. I'm like, all this time, like J-Lo, man, is just a trip. Like, for real. Got this all up, as you can see. You got her wearing all white again. Like I said, this whole video medicine. That's what shot can be on medicine. You know, dishing you, give you a taste of what you put out. You know what I mean? Because basically, you see, she got the crystal ball representing nothing but divination. You know what I mean? Nothing but witchcraft. That's why you got your boy, French Montana. Look at the hand sign. He's throwing up nothing but the Baphomet sign. And he's holding his head. Because that literally is not, it's all known for what? Santeria, voodoo, witchcraft, chicken with his head off. Look at the stars on his shoulders. You know what I mean? So like, pay attention to that right there, man. It's all of this symbolism surrounding this woman. It's crazy, you know. But I'm gonna end this right here. Eventually, I might do a part 2 on her, because there's still a lot more to cover. But I'm gonna end this right here. And thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV. Peace. Stay tuned.